Hello everybody, Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay guys, so what is happening? Massive riots, massive civil unrest happening in Peru. Luckily the channel has quite a few people that are friendly to Mike in the Night to give us some information. So I just got off a Skype call with a gentleman that basically has been protesting for a week and a half straight, back and forth, and he said that the protests, or how to say, the underground protests, as he called them, during the lockdowns, still continued. What happened? How it happened? He went in through how basically this problem became and escalated to become a major problem back in 2019. When Western media was spinning climate change protests all over the world, not in Peru, not in Chile, not in actual countries that mattered, where they were actually protesting no confidence in government, when Western media is, all these people are in an uproar because climate change. And we didn't believe that on the channel, and we called it. Now, what is happening? Well, let's go back, and I want to thank Juan for, was it Juan Diego? No, Juan Sala? No, Juan Sanzar? Not Salazar. I know that name. But anyways, for calling me on Skype, giving me the download on what's happening, how it's happening. So here it is. And basically, like we were reporting, 2019, the year of the protest, how to make sense of the many protests raging across South America. And I got this one because it showed multiple countries. Ecuador, Chile. When we're talking about rioting, we're talking about burning it to the ground rioting. They called it the Latin Spring. And Chile fare increases because fare increases, not because of climate change, had snowballed into deeper movement against the elites in right-leaning democratically elected government in Peru, and the street rose up to back President Martin Vizcarra in his crusade to close down a corrupt Congress. So this is going back, and this is the corrupt Congress that Peru has been facing, and you're not going to like what happened. So Ecuador, and you got Venezuela, and the Venezuela protests, anti-Maduro Venezuela protests you saw here in the Western media were actually pro-Maduro. They weren't anti. There was two people running for president of Venezuela. It was Falcon, and it was Maduro. And Falcon, both of them were fighting over each other to see who's got more dirt on who cooperated with America. That was their campaigns. America didn't have a dog in the fight. They put in that guy, what's his name? They put in that guy that never ran for president, wasn't on the pollsters, Guaido. They put Guaido in, never ran, never was on the pollsters, never was on the ballot, never anything, but he became president of Venezuela. The former Freemason, or the Freemason there, right? So there's a lot going on that a lot of people just can't see through because the Western media is so corrupt. So Venezuela, and the painful aftermath of commodities boom, rising prices of fuels and mineral and corpse at the heart of the region's resource-rich economies at the start of 21st century help lift millions out of poverty. The revenue also raised expectations. So there it is right there. There's the protests that were happening there. And 2019 unrest in South America. So it was already boiling back then. And then they had to put everything on lockdown, right? Remember that, guys? They had to put everything on lockdown. We covered that back in 2019. And there it is. Peru judge denies ex-President Castillo's bid to end detention. Pedro Castillo says he has been unjustifiably detained as protesters continue to demand his freedom and early elections. So there it is. He's been detained. So I don't know too much about this guy. I've been trying to find stuff about him, but I know he was a school teacher and all that jazz, and he was forming unions, and he was basically for the people to protect people, middle-class jobs. So Peru declares a state of emergency as protests intensify. Supporters of detained former leader Pedro Castillo stage violent demonstrations in the south. So they're making him look like this terrible guy, and the people basically his people are just like the Trump supporters and Trump protests. And then they put in this new leader. Here she is right here. And there she is right there at the World Economic Forum. She is the new standing female president of Peru right now. And there's the president that's in jail. President is controversial. Peru's new president is controversial. Here's why scientists have high hopes for him. That's back in 2021. So correct me if I'm wrong with certain things, but this just looks like to put another WEF puppet in there. And now she is the first female president of Peru, and she's the standing president of Peru, and she was, I guess, selected by her. I don't know who selected her, but you see where I'm going here with this. With Macron, Trudeau, one after another, one leader after another, Brazil, all this stuff that's happening. I may be wrong with something. I may have misjudged something. Maybe this guy that was, but from what I heard from the discussion with my friend Juan, he basically said that he was a just president. He was fair. He created unions in the private sector. He was a former teacher. He was there for the people, and he worked his butt off. So I'm very lucky that we have people friendly to Mike in the Night in Peru. And it took a little while for me to get into contact, but I got into contact. President there. Don't forget to join us on Mike in the Night. We are on Odyssey if you want to join us. And Mike in the Night right there. There's 472. Our 2023 prediction show was a hit. So if you want to join us on Mike in the Night with, I think we got over 18 to 20 call-ins on that show for our 2023 predictions. And look what came up. Our 2022 prediction show. We've been doing it since 2017. Anyways, guys, again, it's all being put in place, and they're doing it by force, and they're not allowing the people to put in or to elect the people they want to rule them. And that's the problem we're having here. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.